Hey team, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to look at the slice method for arrays. Got 7 great examples. Let's start looking at the array method slice. So here you can see that I'm in DevTools, and we're going to be stepping through this code, and you can actually see all the variables as I'm teaching you about this. So I'm going to hit this Control Enter, and that gets us into the program. And then notice here, I've set a breakpoint on line 4. You can just toggle it just like you would do if you were writing a program. And here you can see my locals. And notice we have an executed line 4. I'm going to hit the F10 button, and now the user is in memory. Now what this is saying is user slice 0. So this is the starting index. And when you give the starting index without any other parameters, it starts from wherever you tell me to the end of that array object. So notice on this first one, slice 0, it goes out there and gives me the entire list. So you can imagine what slice 1 does. It goes to position 1 and gives me to the end. And notice down here. And slice 2, 0, 1, 2 does it. I can also assign these objects to another object. Now notice here I have let A equal slice 0. Well, we know slice 0 gives me the full list. So now notice A equals those 4 array entries, and B will be 3, and C will be just 2. You can see that over here in the scope local. And notice that the original array users is still intact. This console log ABC will print out all 3 of these new objects, and there we have it, and return 0, and we're done. Let's look at starting from the end. Notice all my values are negative numbers. Let's run this and see what happens. Notice that we have users, and it's our set, F10. And then we're going to say slice users -1. That should just give us the U3. And now -2. Well, you already know what's going to happen now. We'll get the last 2, and -3 we'll get all 3. At the end, 1, 2, 3. Now what we're going to do is we're going to assign what we're cutting off into another variable. Notice that the original array does not get affected by the slice command. And notice A is assigned U3 and B has 2 entries. It's just like this console, but here we're just assigning it to another variable, and we can log them out as well. A, B, and C. And there you have it. So we have looked at start, we have looked at begin at the end, and now we're going to look at taking the middle. Now the middle one is a little tricky, and what it does is this second one says up to this, but don't include it. I don't like this command. I mean, it just doesn't, this makes a lot of errors. So here you see our users, and we have 0, 1, 2, 3. So this slice 0, 1 saying, hey, I want from here to here, but don't include this one. So you would just get U0. On this one, 0, 2, 0, 1, 2, I only want these 2. Now you're probably thinking this could be the number that I want. But then what happens is when I use 1 and I say 1 to 2, it doesn't work like that. So it says up to the end array, but don't use it. Let's step through this and see how this works. So we Control Enter to begin running. I got a breakpoint set on line 4, F10, and now we've got our users. So notice that we have an ABC. So I'm going to go 0 to 1. That means don't include 1. Look down here. And then 0 to 2, don't include 2. 0 to 3, don't include 3. Now let's assign it to variables. Well, you already know that it's up to the index, but don't use it. So A, B, and C. And we can see those variables over here. And it looks just like our output from the first 3 commands. And we'll reprint those, and that's just what we were expecting. Now, on lines 19, we're seeing a little difference. We're going to start from 1 to go to 2. So starting here, stopping here, don't include 2. That's what this is saying. So on this line, we'd only get sub 1. Let's see what happens. Notice we only got sub 1. 1 to 3, so I'm 1, 2, 3, don't include 3. I would want U1, U2. Let's see what happens. There you have it. And notice we have D and E over here that haven't been assigned yet. F10, F10. Notice that's just like our output, and then I can console log those, and that is the between. Let's learn how to modify the original array. Notice on line 5 I say let user equals our current set, F10. Now notice user is 0, 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to get my length. Length actually counts the number of elements that are in your array. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to console log 4. Notice 4 down here. Now I'm going to push U4 to our original array. It will modify that array. Watch our scope over here. Notice 4 was added at the end. I'm then going to console log user, and notice we have our 4. And now that we have pushed a new one in there, up here, original count was 4. Now we're at 5. Now you remember the slice command. This is the between. If I come and look at my user in scope, it says I want 0 to 4. Now remember, 4 means up to, do not include. 0, 1, 2, 3, right? I'm not going to use this one. See, it says go to, these are index positions. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want to come up to here, but not include. And that will go in orig 1. Notice orig 1, just up to 3. And you remember, if we only give the starting, we get it all. From this index to the end. Notice orig 2 has it all. Here you can see I'm using stringify. And that's going to take this object and make it real pretty. And notice it's a nice, I did it as that one as well. And we can also say console log user with user the object. And there you have it. Let's look at another example. Notice here we have a different kind of data. We have an array of objects. Notice that I have a breakpoint on line 27, F10 to step inside. And now my data will be populated. Notice I have my 4 entries. And when you say data.slice with no parameters, what this does is it makes a copy, and we're going to say copy of data. And notice when we look at copy of data, it has the original data in it. And I will print that out to the console. Perfect. Now what I'm saying is this end data, new data, I'm going to create a new object. It's got the same key values in there. Ready? A and B. New data, object, the 2 fields. And now in that copy, I'm going to push that new data. And look at new data. It now has 5 entries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Monday, 99 Monday. Now I'm going to console log that so we can see that. Notice we got our 5 entries. And now here's the big test. Before I hit the go button, you tell me what we're going to get here. Console log copy of data slice -2. You're right. We are going to get these last 2 entries of this copy of data. We should get 30 and 99. Let's see that work. Clear this, F10, and notice we have 2 entries, 30 and 99. Good job, team. Let us step through another program, F10, and notice that we have data, and notice that I did not put quotes around this first A. And when I came and looked at my object though, everything appears to be okay. So if I say slice 0, that means start at this first one and work my way to the end. We're going to console log that. Let's see what happens. F10. And notice when I look at my output, notice everything is available. And when I say slice 0 to 1, that's saying start here, end here, but don't include that one. 0 to 1. Let's see what happens when I console log that. Notice we just get our first entry. Now what happens when we come over here and stringify some data? Notice that this one right here would not pass the JSON validator. So when I JSONify that, it fixes it all. And F10, and notice it ends up putting that quotation mark around that first A. So this would be validatable now. So I can come out to a validator, paste that in there, and then hit the validate. Let's make this window so you can see it as well. And then come down here and say validate. And notice that it's good. If we take off this and say validate, then we get errors. So this right here is no good. So that's what this is used for, is to make it so you can pass your JSON around and you know it's properly formatted. Now what we're going to do is we're going to assign that to string 1. Now this is where things start to get a little bit crazy. This is a string. It's not an object anymore. And string 1 sub A, you would think that this would come here, right? Sub 1, but this is a string. There is no sub 1's in this. This right here will give me undefined. However, if I say data sub 1, that will come up here. This is 0, 1, and I'm looking at 1A. So it would give me that 14. Let's see what happens when I console log that. And there you have it. In this example, we're going to be using slice on a string. So notice here, I'm going to say let s equals Orlando, Florida. And you can see that over here in the scope, F10, Orlando, Florida. And then I'm going to say city equals slice 0 to 7. Well, just like an array, it's going to go 0 to 7, 0 to 7, but don't include 7. So it's going to get Orlando, and that's going to go into city. Watch that here. And then I'm going to console that out, and I put these bars around it so you can see that we didn't get that space there, F10. And notice it's nice and tight. And then I'm going to say slice 8. Well, remember, whenever I just use a starting position, it starts there and it goes to the end, F10. So notice we get Orlando, Florida. Broke that apart. Very good. Now what we're going to do is, see, I hard-coded this value. And imagine that was Tallahassee, Florida, or Miami, Florida. This space would be in different positions. So here I'm going to say, let POS equal the index of that space. All right, cool. And that returns me 7. So if we come up here, it's this position here, 7, it's that space. So I'm saying console log 7 plus 1, 8. So what would this print? Florida, right. Very good, team. Now, what we're going to do is a little bit more creative is, notice POS is 7, and then 7 plus 1 is 8. So I'm right now here. And then I'm saying index of O, and then it comes over here to this. That's what this command right here does. So POS is pointing at this O down here, F10. Notice it says 2, but we have to be smart about what we're looking at, right? So then I'm going to console log, look what this says, POS plus 1, so this is 7, so it's 8, and then I'm going to slice 2 more to the end. What does this print out? That's right, this just prints out Rita. Very good, team. F10, Rita, and there you have it. You'll have to practice these. Practice makes the master.